this week. I am. And, listen, you're AFC South champs, baby.
Always the Jags.
Come on, somebody!
This boy got a hit.
1010XL 92.5 FM presents Jaguars Today with your host, Tony Smith.
Good morning, everybody. It's kind of sad to have an intro with just one name on it, isn't it? I don't know how we got to do something about that, RJ. I know you're in here for the next few days, filling in for Dylan Denmark today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. But it's a little sad to hear the open of one of these shows and it's just the one name. I don't know what to do with that. Dempsey on assignment, Dylan doing his thing out in Colorado here for the next few days.
Has this even ever happened before? I mean, just like you're the only one in here from Jaguars Today?
Well, it's never been where it's just one of the three of us, I believe,
right,
that we've been down to. There's been plenty of times, obviously, where Dempsey or myself have been on vacation. We have our streak running. I don't know if you knew about this, RJ, but this is a real thing, and we pride ourselves on this. We take it seriously. I don't know how seriously people think we may take this kind of thing, but we take it seriously. There has never been an episode of Jaguars Today since we began doing this show some 12 years ago, I guess now, when we were down there in the stadium for the first 6 or 7 years of doing the show. I can't remember exactly. We were doing it down there every day, but there has never been an episode of the show where Mike or myself has not been here. We've never both taken a vacation day at the same time in 12 years. And
I mean, you guys have been doing like where you're alternating this summer where it's you'll take off 1 week and he'll take off one.
Yeah, one or the other, but it's never both of us. And to a point where like we're in tricky territory right now because Dempsey may not be in town for his assignment. So if I were to get sick here over the next few days, that would put it in serious jeopardy. I don't anticipate anything like that happening. But it will be Tony Smith and RJ Saunders here with you for the next few days. Like I said, RJ will be with me here through Wednesday this week. Dempsey on assignment all week, spending time with the family, so we won't all be back together until Monday. Tom McManus will be joining me on the show tomorrow and Wednesday, as well as his usual spot on Friday. Jamal St. Cyr will be coming in with me for the show on Thursday this week. It's the first time we've gotten him in for a full episode here of the program, but we're excited to get that done for the first time. And today on the show, we'll hear from Jeff Lageman, who will join me for a couple segments starting in the next segment here today. John Oehser going to join me in the second hour today as well. But before we get into Jeff Lageman, John Oehser, the rest of the show this morning, I saw this weekend some Jaguars fans. Now, this is RJ, it's obviously a slow time of the year when it comes to any kind of NFL news of any sort. I saw ESPN, their big thing up there right now is one of the writers over there did a story about why the family areas are important to players. Like with so many NFL teams, when they send out that NFLPA survey, right? A bunch of NFL teams, including the Jags, get failing grades, right? There's just not enough facilities for the families of the players when they're here in town. And I'm not crying that that's illegitimate. It's legitimate, right? If I was a player and I had a family and I was trying to bring them to the games on Sunday, I would want somewhere for them to be. Like that kind of thing I would take seriously, but we're at a point in the year where that's a lead story on ESPN.
Quite the deep dive.
In the NFL today. But I saw over the weekend that I think it was a Cowboys fan that put it out originally. I saw Doom reacting to it. So Doom, I give you credit for this even coming up on the show today. But they were talking about Etienne, and they were trying to make their argument for Etienne being lousy, I guess is what the guy was trying to say, which is a little bit silly. He's not lousy. He is what he is, but he's not lousy. But their argument for why he's lousy is he fumbles too much. Okay. It's not the first time that I've heard someone bring that kind of thing up, right? When it comes to Etienne. So I decided to take a little bit of a look at exactly what that means. Etienne has 6 fumbles in the 3 seasons that he's been playing here in Jacksonville since 2022, with just one of those occurring in the past 2 seasons. He's got 1 fumble in the last 2 years, and he's been relatively healthy since 2022 on the 8th most carries in the league. Now, that's the thing that when I was looking into this that surprised me the most. Etienne has the 8th most carries in the league over the course of the last 3 seasons with 637. So how does that compare with some of the other high-volume guys in the league over these 3 years? So I took a look at all of them. Everyone on this list has got at least 600 carries in the past 3 years. So they're all averaging 200 carries over this time. Derrick Henry leads the league with 954 carries. He's got 9 fumbles during that time. Saquon Barkley, 887 carries, 5 fumbles during that time. Josh Jacobs, 10 fumbles on 874. Najee Harris, 5 fumbles on 790. Joe Mixon, this is kind of the eye-opener among these numbers that I saw. Joe Mixon, no fumbles on 712 carries. Only has 6 fumbles in 8 NFL seasons. So Joe Mixon is as trustworthy a running back as there is in the National Football League. Tony Pollard, 5 fumbles on 705 carries. Jonathan Taylor, 8 fumbles on 664. Then Etienne with 6 fumbles on 637. Alvin Kamara, 5 on 631. James Conner, 7 on 627. Aaron Jones, 12 fumbles on 610 carries. So that's double the fumbles that Etienne has had, obviously. David Montgomery, 6 fumbles on 605. Kenneth Walker, 2 fumbles on 600. And that's the list of guys that have had 600 carries here in the last 3 seasons. So, you know, when you start comparing Etienne to some of those guys, I took a look at a couple more interesting guys potentially for this just in the middle of this conversation. Christian McCaffrey also has 6 fumbles in his last 3 seasons, I think on a little over 500 carries. Bijan Robinson has 5 fumbles in his first 2 NFL seasons. Breece Hall has 9 in his first 3 seasons, including 6 last year alone. Tank Bigsby has 6 fumbles on 218 in his first 2 seasons. So he's got the same number of fumbles on Etienne on a third of the volume of carries. So if we're going to start talking about Jaguars running backs that have fumbling issues, I don't think Etienne's anywhere near the top of that list, right? If you're going to, we're all having conversations about who's going to start for the Jaguars at running back this season, and it's fair. I think there are 3 options that are legitimate to argue for them being the starting running back for the Jacksonville Jaguars. The larger point of all this to me, RJ, is more, if you want to make an argument against Travis Etienne, I think there are arguments to be made.
Right.
Against Travis Etienne. I think the yards per carry number dropping as much as it did here in the last couple of years, that his long run last year was 22 is stunning for a guy that appears to be as athletic as Travis Etienne is. Like, that is a stunning number. The football team has obviously made some kind of priority of the backfield.
Right.
Otherwise, how do you explain them drafting 2? You know, like, there's no reason for them to do that if they feel good about Etienne and Tank Bigsby going into the season. But that's the direction they went. We all know Etienne's only going to be here 1 more year, right? There are a lot of arguments to be made for why you feel however you feel about what's going to happen with the Jaguars backfield. I'm not surprised that somebody from outside of Jacksonville would have a stupid enough opinion about it that it would be uneducated enough to believe the reason they shouldn't play him is because he fumbles too much.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that's the problem as well when you're not watching the games as we are here as the flagship station of the Jaguars. I also feel like there's been, you stated, I think a lot that's played into why Travis Etienne hasn't been able to be that running back in which maybe we had thought he would be more consistently. And I know we blame the O-line a lot. I think that maybe different regimes weren't able to put him in certain situations where he could be successful. And I do think that gets in a player's head after a while. I may be wrong on that, but I do think that at some point you start getting in your head a bit and you're able to make those mistakes. I can't tell you how many times I've listened to your guys' show, how different would the season have been last year if he doesn't fumble the ball against Miami in week 1?
Yeah, the one fumble he had last year was obviously.
Yeah, so I mean, listen, he's been a solid player for Jacksonville. It hasn't been everything in which we've wanted thus far, but like you said, I mean, he's here for another year. It does seem to me that he does have a vote of confidence from Liam Cohen saying that, listen, he's not going to get traded. I don't know where you guys heard that from. We want him to be here. And it does seem like they're going to try to put him in different situations as well, to where maybe you put more ideas in that backfield, because you see Etienne maybe as this more versatile player, not only in the backfield where you're handing it off to him, but maybe he can also kind of be that quasi receiver that you can put in some sort of packages. So, I think an uneducated remark on this guy's part from Dallas. But, I mean, I'm definitely interested to see what Etienne does this year, especially in what I guess we would like to call it a contract year. Well,
it's a contract year for him. I don't think it's a contract that he's going to be getting from Jacksonville necessarily, but it's a contract year for him. Right. And, I have no idea what the plan's going to be ultimately with the backfield. I think they have 3 options that they could start with. I guess LaQuinn Allen, we'll see what he becomes. He's the most interesting one to try to predict the future on him to me, because I do think he's likely right now, as the room is put together, right now, he's their best pass protector.
Yes.
Among the 4 that they have. And those guys get opportunities. And if you show anything with an ability to run the football on top, your opportunities are only going to grow if you're the guy that they can trust to not let the quarterback get killed. So we'll see what all that looks like. But, people are going to say whatever they got to say. The Chad and Sandy real estate question of the day today has nothing to do with running backs or Travis Etienne. Our question of the day today is, which of these numbers do you think Trevor Lawrence is most likely to surpass in the 2025 NFL season? All of these numbers, by the way, the reason I chose these is because each of these would put him among the top 5 among quarterbacks at these particular numbers looking back at last year. So your options in the poll today: 4,400 yards passing, 33 touchdown passes, or win 12 games for Trevor Lawrence. We'll discuss that as we go through the show. Jeff Lageman going to join us for a couple of segments. We'll get into the conversation with everything that's happened in the Jaguars offseason with Jeff Lageman. When we return, Tony Smith, RJ Saunders here with you. Mike Dempsey, Dylan Denmark on assignment. Dylan back with us on Thursday. Dempsey back with us a week from today, next Monday, as we start getting ready for the 4th of July holiday next week. We're already getting into July, but we'll get to that a little bit later. Jeff Lageman will join us next as we get things rolling here on a Monday edition of Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
Jaguars Today.
From the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios at 1010XL. Splash into summer with 1010XL.
Just when you thought we couldn't bring you more, Keon Atlantic is here with a brand new store. We have the same great team to treat you well, with new savings during our grand opening sale. Keon Atlantic is here with the new store. Shop our best offers and largest selection yet. Save big during our grand opening sale. Is there something for everyone on our lot? You bet. If you're ready to experience something new, the all-new Keon Atlantic is ready for you. Your perfect ride is a visit away. Online at KeonAtlantic.com. Keon Atlantic, your coastal Kia connection.
AA Automotive helps keep your vehicle in dependable and safe condition. Call Sam, Harry, or Joe, and they'll check your brakes, tires, fluids, electric, and motor, so your ride runs smooth on the road. That's AA Automotive on Richard Street.
Home is where your story begins. And at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, we're here to make it the healthiest, most comfortable place it could be. Whether it's fresh, clean air, dependable plumbing, or reliable power, we take care of it all. From routine maintenance to state-of-the-art solutions, Donovan keeps your home running smoothly. Because at Donovan, we believe your home isn't just where you live, it's where your health meets comfort. Call Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing at 904-270-COOL or visit us online. Let's make your home healthier, safer, and better together.
Jaguars Today Monday is built by Dream Finders Homes,
Official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
This is Father Nicholas Lowe, and I want to talk to you about being a godly example. Every day, we're setting an example in our words and actions. And many times, we can act one way in one setting and then totally different in another setting. My encouragement for you is to not send out mixed messages. God is depending on you to set the example in people's lives. You don't know, but you may be the only Bible that someone ever sees today.
For more inspiration, log on to stjohnthedivine.com.
Want your son or daughter to enjoy sports year-round? Then log on to i9sports.com with summer and fall registration open right now, including girls volleyball at Duval Charter Bay Meadows, plus plenty of other spots and sports on the First Coast. i9sports.com. Enter 1010 for a discount.
Have you been diagnosed with moderate to severe opioid use disorder? You may qualify for a new clinical research study. Dr. Ferdinand Formoso is now enrolling participants to evaluate the effectiveness of a non-opioid medication treatment option for OUD. Qualified participants will receive study-related care at no cost and may be eligible for reimbursement of travel and accommodations. To qualify, applicants must be 18 to 65 years old, have been diagnosed with moderate to severe opioid use disorder, and have not been on medication to treat opioid use in the last 3 months. The study lasts up to 22 weeks, with weekly visits during treatment. If you're ready to explore a new path forward, visit OUDstudy.com for more details and qualifications. Take the first steps and visit OUDstudy.com. That's OUDstudy.com. OUDstudy.com.
She's seen and heard all over 1010XL's video and social channels.
Whether the big cats are at the bank or on the road, I'm there too. Follow my updates all season long, on air and online.
All things Mia are driven by Arlington Toyota.
Grow your hair back. IHRS offers the latest technology in hair transplants and restorative treatments.
Fast, easy, and effective.
With over 35 years' experience, our team is committed to delivering exceptional results. Hair restoration is for us, and it can be for you too.
See how IHRS technology can grow your hair back. Go to hairforme.com or call 904-777-IHRS, 777-4477 for $250 off.
Denny Thompson here. If you haven't heard, Tyson Sound & Security has a house built right inside their showroom, showcasing complete home automation and security systems. You have to see it to believe it. This setup can recognize intruders who approach your door and alerts them to leave if there's a break-in. Keep your family safe with the most state-of-the-art technology. Tyson Sound & Security, your security, home theater, and home automation experts. New showroom at 3555 U.S. Highway 17 in Fleming Island.
Hey, Hicken here, or just call me Dreamfinders Danny. For a limited time to ring in the new year, Dreamfinders Homes is offering an amazing 4.99% fixed interest rate. Now's your chance to lock down that rate and get in the game. You heard me right. It's 4.99 fixed interest rate on select move-in ready homes. Visit dreamfindershomes.com for sales event information and get in the game. Interest rate available on select move-in ready homes. Restrictions and limitations apply. Go to dreamfindershomes.com for more details.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. If you're dreaming of putting in a pool this year, choosing the right company is the most important decision you'll make. I've trusted Stanley Pools to build my pool, renovate my pool, and maintain my pool. Stanley Pools has been the best in the business since 1988, and they're still family owned. Call them today at 904-269-7277 or find them online at stanleypoolsfl.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
Hey, Hicken here, and you know I'm going to talk about skin. Yeah, it's hot outside, folks. The oven is on. Temps are in the 90s, and it's only getting hotter. I love the summer, but my skin doesn't. I do my best with dry fit shirts, big floppy hats, plenty of water. My secret weapon, though, the sunscreen. I use it regularly. Maybe you should as well. Look, I've also been seeing docs at Peaches Dermatology for years, and my skin thanks me for it. I'm telling you, it could save your life. Book your appointment today at peachesdermatology.com.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Everything you need to know about the Jags. Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
As we get the week rolling here on Jaguars Today, Mike Dempsey on assignment. So Tony Smith here with you, RJ Saunders filling in for Dylan Denmark on the board here for the next few days, today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. Going to talk to John Oehser in the second hour of the program, but going to talk to Jeff Lageman here in just a moment as we go out to the Checkmate Coatings hotline here on Jaguars Today. Mr. Lageman, I assume that you're somewhere in nature, just kind of hiding out to speak to me from wherever you might be today.
Yeah, you're probably right. I am amongst the trees, and I've already gotten a full-blown sweat from working this morning, but it's good to be in the woods.
No doubt. I appreciate you giving us a few minutes of your time this morning. How are you? Let's get the important stuff out of the way early here in the interview logs. How are you getting ready for a season without your broadcast booth partner, Tony Baselli, to join you up there this year?
Yeah, it's going to be different. There's no doubt about it. But, I think the one thing about our team, even when we had Tony, I think we had a real good relationship and a real good kind of chemistry. And so that chemistry and that relationship will continue. We got me and Frank in the booth and Bucky Brooks on the sideline. And I think Bucky's role will probably be increased a little bit more from the sideline just because of, Tony's not in the booth anymore. But, the one thing that I'm excited about, too, is working more with Frank. And then the great thing is with Tony as a EVP, I think this organization has been more transparent than ever so far. And I think that's going to be good for everybody. Me, you, the media, the fans, everybody.
No doubt. And, along those kind of lines, Logs, what have been your early impressions here over the last few months of Liam Cohen and James Gladstone?
Very impressed so far, but, they haven't played a game yet.
Right.
And it's very easy to be impressed when they haven't played a game. I think the real test comes, as Mike Tyson used to say, when you get hit in the mouth, and then that's going to be the real test. And how are they going to handle it when all of a sudden, they lose a couple games in a row or, they have some bad things happen. But, so far, I like everything that they've done. I like what I'm seeing. I like what I'm hearing. I like the way that they're working together. I think that having the three guys kind of in different positions with Tony and James and Liam, I think it really, really helps all three of them do their jobs because – in the past, you had a general manager and a head coach, and they had to do the duties of essentially three people, which you have three people now doing the three jobs. And so I think it's going to allow Liam Cohen to focus on coaching. It's going to allow James Gladstone to focus in on player acquisition and talent upgrades. And then Tony can handle a lot of the day-to-day logistics of the organization and also a part of the culture building.
Logs, I think that there are – looking at the product on the field, I think that there are a lot of really interesting questions surrounding the Jags on the field going into the season. I have three that are kind of at the top of my mind on my own personal list, and I do plan on asking you about all three of those things, obviously. But I thought it would be also interesting to ask you what you think those three things that I have on my list might be before I dive into them with you. So what three questions do you think I might have that would be at the top of my list?
I'll give you from my perspective, okay. And then I've got three that are going to be huge. Number one is Trevor Lawrence going to get back to the form that he had a couple of years ago when they ended up getting the playoff run? Because that's the most important question of all, period. If all of a sudden he ends up having the level of performance that he had on that magical run in the playoffs, then this football team has a legitimate chance to compete for a Super Bowl title. I think number two is essentially how will the dual position role go with Travis Hunter? I think that's one of the most intriguing things and probably would be a number one over Trevor as far as people from around the league that aren't Jaguar fans, and maybe even would be number one with some Jaguar fans. Number three, for me, is just, how is this new existence gonna go with the three guys? How will they handle adversity and how will they come through that? Those, to me, are the three big things.
Yeah, I got Trevor Lawrence and Travis Hunter in there. The other, because I was trying to focus specifically on field, was just how improved is the offensive line going to be. And before we dig into that too much, I know, what is your general reaction as someone who has played in the league for a decade? You've been around the NFL game now for closing on 40 years, Jeff, not to age you, to a player and organization attempting what the Jaguars and Travis Hunter are obviously going to attempt with him playing both sides.
I'm excited for it. And, I actually was I was doing an interview with Sirius XM satellite radio on the NFL channel, that kind of thing, and with Pat Kerwin and Pat, and that was obviously one of the big questions that they wanted to ask about it. And I said, the past is always the greatest indicator of what's going to happen in the future. And so you look at the past, and the past is his career in college. And he was able to do it in college, and he was able to do it at a high level. So my expectation is that he will be able to do that in the NFL at a high level. Will he be able to do it at the number of reps that he did in college? I think he's got to find a way to cut back a little bit just to be able to prepare, I think, to the level. So in other words, like we saw in the offseason, there was a lot more work, I think, on the offensive side of the ball than it appeared to be on the defensive side of the ball. And I think that will be the case going forward because offense needs more timing and rhythm and everything, and defense is more of just being an athlete. It also has technique and timing and rhythm as well, but it's a little different. So I think the role on offense needs to be big, and there are certain packages that he won't be involved in, so that won't be a full-time role on offense. And then I think on defense, you prepare him for certain packages so that he can really dial in and focus on those packages. And so is he going to take 100% of the snaps? I mean, maybe there will be a game that he'll approach that. But my expectation is, and I don't know anything more than you do, Tony, my expectation is that he's going to be somewhere around maybe 70% of the snaps of the entire game, not counting special teams, maybe 80. But I'm excited to see it. I mean, heck, every day when I went out to the Jaguars practice this year, the first thing that I looked at was number 12 wearing teal, or is he wearing white? Because I wanted to see which side of the ball that he was going to be on. And there were a couple of practices that he actually changed in practice, which was very interesting to me. And obviously moving forward, that's going to be something that they're going to be evolving too.
I was watching all of the coverage that you were on draft day, right? And I saw you talking to Baselli, and he asked, what do you think we should do? And you said, I think I'd try to figure out a way to go get Hunter, right? So it was clear what your opinion of Travis Hunter was as a prospect coming into the league. When you were watching him getting ready for the draft, did you like him better on one side of the ball or the other at all?
Yes. I liked him on the offensive side of the ball. I thought that he could be a Justin Jefferson type just because great speed, great hands, ability to make the contested catch, body control. I mean, he's just got all of the traits to be what I believe is going to be a premium wide receiver. And so for me, I was thinking, okay, offense, wide receiver. And I can tell you this, Tony, it was pretty interesting after I said that to Tony when I was on that show that you're referring to with JP Shadrick and Tony Baselli. I had no idea that they were going to do that.
Right.
And the look on Baselli's face, he did a really good job of hiding it. But after the fact, he told me, he says, did you know? I said, I had no idea. He's like, oh my God. He says, I couldn't believe that you said that. And I said, look, I said that because that was what my opinion was, because I think he's an amazing athlete. And to me, he's the most effortless athlete that I've ever watched college film on. Graceful, whatever you want to call it. Doesn't ever get tired. I mean, it's just an amazing human being to watch, and that's what really impressed me.
Yeah, and he's a player that, look, you've been out there watching the practices. There's an energy that surrounds Travis Hunter. It's just, I don't even know how someone would try. I mean, you played in the league for a decade. I can't imagine anyone trying to do what Travis Hunter's going to do, but he seems to just, where does the energy come from? It's a gift, man. No one else is born with that.
It is. And I remember in the process leading up to the draft, you read everything you can, you watch the film, and then there are certain guys that you kind of pay attention to, in the draft process, whether some people like a Mel Kiper or a Daniel Jeremiah or whoever, the draft nicks, so to speak. And I remember watching, it was a podcast with Daniel Jeremiah and another guy that I thought very reputable when it comes to the draft prospects. And And Daniel Jeremiah was telling a story about how when he went to the pro day workout with Travis Hunter, and he said that I've never seen a human being work out and never seem to even sweat and to never even breathe heavy, and how do you do that? I mean, it's a genetic thing, right? I mean, you go back and you look at one of the greatest controversies, I think, in all of professional sports, back to the Tour de France and Lance Armstrong and all these bike riders that were doing the doping thing to try to recover and have a high level of performance. Well, I mean, Travis Hunter kind of has that naturally, and it really is amazing to see that. And it's going to be amazing to see that at the professional level, because we haven't seen a two-way player in years in the National Football League. I mean, you got to go to kind of the old-timey football, and the game was obviously a lot different and not even nearly as fast as what it is today. So to me, it's not apples to apples. It's very different, the comparison of what was done years ago versus what Travis Hunter is going to embark upon.
Logs, we'll keep you around for one more segment. We'll talk about the offensive line and how improved you think that group might be when we get back here for another segment. Hopefully you can stick with us where whatever blind you're hiding in, hopefully talk to you for a few more minutes here, get into some other Jaguars-related stuff as well as we continue along. It's a Monday edition of Jaguars Today here on 1010 XL.
Caesar is pleased to bring you the only undefeated champion in Roman history, the legendary
1010XL. Jaguars
Today.
From the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL.
Hey, John, have you seen the exciting 2025 lineup at Randy Marion Cadillac?
They've got the Lyric, IQ, Optique, and the stunning Vistique. It's a Cadillac lover's dream.
And the best part, over 100 new Cadillacs are in stock and ready for you to drive home today.
Plus, it's the perfect time to trade in your Tesla and experience luxury and performance like never before.
Visit us today at Randy Marion Cadillac on Southside Boulevard in Jacksonville.
Don't miss out on these incredible vehicles. Your new Cadillac awaits.
Tell them Jennifer sent ya.
If you're 35 to 75, you could get life insurance today. No medical exam needed. I'm Cody with Harborstone Financial. One call could protect your family for life. Call me today, 904-885-9566.
Hey everybody, Mike Dempsey here. Time to get your roof hurricane ready with Apex Roofing and Contracting of Jacksonville Beach. You don't want to wait until the rainy season is here. That's no joke. If your roof's got damage, if it's got leaks, if it's just plain worn out, do not wait. Apex is local. They're dependable. They're going to show up on time with the best materials and ironclad warranties. Don't trust those fly-by-night roofers. Apex, reach for the peak. Apex Roofing and Contracting in Jacks Beach. Visit apexroofingfl.com.
Hey, Hickett here for my friends at Zero Res. Gang, vacuuming is not sufficient to maintain the cleanliness and lifespan of your carpet, period. Do not, let me repeat, do not leave deep cleaning to yourself, but do-it-yourself dirt-attracting carpet soaking machines. No, no, no. Call on the cleaning freaks from Zero Res. Big summer savings. 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at $129. Take 20% off air duct cleaning as well. Call them, 904-287-5727, and ask for the 1010XL special. Zero Res, spelled forwards or backwards. It's the right way to clean.
Dreamfinders Homes Monday on Jaguars Today.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
Ah, but do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
Meet John and Ben Lupo, second and third generation owners of Jacksonville's Beards Diamonds.
We can do things that these corporate stores cannot do. Make decisions on the spot. Our pricing is better than anybody else's. We do not do commissions.
We really try to keep it a family environment, relaxed. We're not trying to sell you what we want. We're trying to listen to what you want.
In fact, don't be surprised if you end up spending less at Beards than you had budgeted, because they're going to teach you how to buy a diamond like a dealer buys and show you how to buy smart.
If we can save the consumer money, we're all about that. If we can achieve the same look, the same quality, and for them to spend less, that's what Beards is built on.
Why pay more if you don't have to?
Dad always taught me from day one is you got to look at the diamond. You can't just buy off the paperwork. Rather than us just saying, hey, this one's $7,000, the other one's $10,000, we're going to tell the consumer why this one's $7,000, then why this is $3,000 less, but almost looks identical.
Don't overpay at the Wall Street-owned corporate chain. Get the transparency and value you deserve at Beards at the St. John Town Center.
Prosser here for Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. With the weather now hot as can be, look ahead and get that backyard ready for fall with a new open air or screened-in enclosure. Maximize the space you have and make it great with Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. They truly are the best in the business. So if you have the space and the idea, give them a call today. Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. Showroom just off Phillips Highway. Tell them Prosser sent you.
Get the best soccer talk on the First Coast on the Coaches Show, presented by Sporting Jacks. Cole Pepper, Sporting Jacks head of soccer Mark Warburton, and Sporting Jacks women's coach Stacey Baylor discuss the beautiful game Tuesday evenings at 6 on 10:10 a.m.
Right now, they're on their way to disrupt your life, make you uncomfortable, and rob you. Don't bother calling the police. They can't help. That's right. Summer heat and humidity are about to attack North Florida again. You know what to do. Call Mike Merritt. Mike Merritt's Heating and Air has a license to chill. When heat and humidity are attacking you, Mike Merritt provides a comfortable chill at a bargain price. Mike has been keeping North Florida comfortable for 30 years. Mike Merritt technicians are never paid commissions, meaning you'll never be pressured to buy something you don't need. And Mike Merritt knows cooling issues can arise anytime. They don't just happen during business hours. So Mike Merritt never charges overtime fees. When you need us, we're here for you. Remember, in the fight against heat and humidity, Mike Merritt has a license to chill. Visit merrittair.com. Florida license number CACO 50384.
David here with Royal Pest Services. It's back. Our summer Centricon Termite Special. New installs begin as low as $249. And if you have existing Centricon, but your renewal is through the roof, we can transfer you to Royal at no cost. Visit RoyalPestServices.com to schedule a free estimate.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
We on? All right. 1, 2, 3, go!
Now, more Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
Tony Smith, RJ Saunders here with you. Still chatting it up with Jeff Lageman from Parts Unknown on the Checkmate Coatings hotline. And Logs, I mentioned going into the break, wanted to discuss with you what the Jaguars got done on the offensive line. That was obviously an area of focus for them when the offseason began. How improved ultimately do you believe that group will be going into 2025?
Well, I think it's going to be better just because they made the whole position group more competitive, from bringing in Hainsey as the center, bringing in competition on the right side, bringing in competition at the tackle spots. And that's the only way you get better is where you have true competition. In the past, it was they kind of kept it status quo, I guess you could say, and they added some draft picks, and they never seemed to bring in any true competition from a veteran perspective because the draft pick kind of were the priority. And I don't have anything against having draft picks because, look, they got Miles, who's a draft pick from West Virginia, who's going to be competing at guard. But at the end of the day, you've got to bring in competition that is legitimate. And if the rookie competition is legitimate, great. If it's not, then you need to bring in some veteran competition. And they've done that, and that's what I like.
Yeah, it's hard to know exactly, the reasoning behind what Liam Cohen said about Anton Harrison was a few weeks ago now. But how much pressure should Anton be feeling for his job? And he's playing in a position group, Jeff, as you know. It's hard to define exactly what a breakout season is for anybody on the offensive line. But what would a breakout season for Anton look like?
Well, he's got to get a lot better than he was last year. I mean, he regressed from year one, and that's not a good thing because in year one he was essentially dealing with a shoulder issue all year, and then had surgery at the end of the season. And so last year he was healthy, and I was expecting him to take a significant jump to the point that this year you would actually consider moving him to left tackle. But the consistency wasn't there. The finish wasn't there. And I think maybe they're feeling some of that because you're looking at some guys rolling in there, a little bit. So look, I think he's a marvelous talent, but he's got to be able to do all of the things that help you get better as an individual. And I hope that he's going to find that because he's the Jaguars need him to be better. They need him to be at the level that they thought he could be at when they drafted him. And right now he hasn't achieved that.
Who do you think will wind up leading the team in rushing this year?
It's a great question, and I don't know the answer. I think it's one of the most intriguing positions that there is on this roster. And the reason I say that is because I think the best running back on the roster is Tank Bigsby, just from a pure running back standpoint. But the reality is that he's put the ball on the ground about every 30 carries, and that's not good enough to keep him in the starting lineup all the time. And then you look at who they drafted. Look, I think Bashal Tutin is a talent. He had some issues too with putting the ball on the carpet. So we got to see kind of how that works, and hopefully that gets rectified and gets some coaching to kind of improve that. And then you obviously have the incumbents, and I think that Etienne is a really good football player, but he takes a lot of shots and he hasn't been able to stay healthy. And then you have the rookie LaQuinn Allen, who when I got to make sure I say this correctly, LaQuinn Allen Jr., who has been getting a lot of snaps as a third down back. But, until you see some live action out of these rookies, it's really hard to gauge. But I think it's going to be fun to watch, Tony. And look, the best problem to have in the world is to have a full stable of running backs that it makes it difficult for the coaches to figure out who's going to get the ball. And it's just going back again to the same thing I was mentioning about the offensive line. The more competition that you create, the better production you're going to get out of the position group as a whole. And so let the best man win.
Want to get to the defensive side of the ball here in a moment. But before we do that, one of, I think, yours and my favorite players on the offensive side here for the last couple of years, his role hadn't been all that big, but I know that you've always been impressed with Brenton Strange in his first 2 seasons here. His opportunities are obviously going to expand this season with Ingram gone. What do you expect that to look like for him this season?
I think he's going to be more involved in the passing game given the opportunity. And the reality is that, he's a tight end and he's got great hands and he's a great blocker. So you're going to want to keep him on the field as much as possible. And I think that's one of the reasons why that they let Evan Ingram go, is because from a money standpoint, it was expensive. And then also this offense is going to, I think, evolve into more of a 3 wide receiver set. The reality is, what would you rather have, Evan Ingram and 2 wide receivers alongside Brenton Strange, or would you rather have 1 tight end and 3 of the wide receivers that you currently have on the roster? Okay, I'm going to vote for a tight end and 3 of the wide receivers that you have because, look, Brian Thomas Jr., Travis Hunter, and then Diami Brown, who you brought in as a free agent from the Commanders. Look, I think those 3 guys are all 3 legitimate deep threats. And so I think the role of the tight end in a Liam Cohen offense is going to, it's going to go down a little bit. It's still going to be very important. And I think that it leaves room for 1 premium tight end. I'm taking the one who's the best blocker, and that's Brenton Strange.
They bring in Emmanuel Ogbah. They bring back DeJuan Smoot. They're talking about Eric Armstead actually playing defensive tackle. What a novel concept that is. Do you believe that the Jaguars pass rush will be better this season?
Yeah, I believe it's going to be. Ogbah, I think, is going to help. It gives you 3 legitimate guys, and when I say 3 guys, I mean 3 veteran proven guys. You have some unproven guys at that position as well. Smoot is also a guy that can give you snaps on the edge. Armstead is very clear, I think, where he's going to be at now. There's no question mark there anymore. I mean, if you look at the Jaguars.com website, his position is listed as defensive tackle, where a lot of the other guys have a defensive line designation. I think that was to provide clarity. So I think they'll be better up front. Are they going to be good enough? Well, let's wait and see. I think the best thing, though, about this defense is that they're not going to be making the mental errors and giving up the explosive plays that they did last year, which was terrible. terrible. Arguably the worst defense in Jaguars history, just from a mental breakdown standpoint and explosive plays allowed standpoint. I'm a big fan of Anthony Campanelli, and I'm a big fan of the Green Bay system. Watching them last year, they were a system that made very few mistakes. They were contesting every ball that was thrown. And that's what the Jaguars need to be this year, like a complete opposite of last year.
Logs, I know when you would check in with us on Tuesdays, looking back at the previous week's games, that over the past 3 years, we've commonly had questions about Trayvon Walker. I can remember a lot of the conversations we were having going through his rookie season, going into year two. Obviously took a big step forward 2 years ago. How much better was Walker last year than he was the year before?
I think he took a big step up just because he was more consistent from affecting the passer, and that he still needs to continue to take steps. And I'm not saying that he needs to take giant steps, just continue to take baby steps to get better. And then he's got a chance to maybe join the elite players at that position. Is he there yet? No. But the one thing that he does is that he does a lot of other things that the elite players can't do. He's so strong. He's so physical. He dominates in the run game. And that's something that some of the elite pass rushers can't do. So I love him. I think he's a great football player. He's durable. He's tough. He's physical. There's nothing not to like about Trayvon Walker. And you need Josh to get back to his form a couple years ago. And I'm not saying he needs to have 17 sacks, but he needs to have more of an impact as a pass rusher than he had last year. And again, I think the system, the back end consistency, the lack of mental errors in the back end, I think will help everybody up front.
What have you heard anyone talking about as far as, look, we've heard Josh Hines Allen and Trayvon Walker. They've been asked questions the first time they went to the mic this year about the weight they were playing at last year, all these different things, right, that were going on in the building last year. You mentioned the issues they had on the back end just in general. What kind of dividends do you expect to be paid for these guys just being, specifically a guy like Josh Hines Allen, being able to play at a bit of a lesser weight this year, more the weight he played at 2 years ago than he did last season?
Yeah, it was kind of interesting, right? Last year, he had this big push for everybody to be bigger and not necessarily stronger, faster. And typically, if you get bigger, you do it if you can still keep your wind and you can be faster as a player. Just like Devin Lloyd. Devin Lloyd looked like he was 250, 55 pounds, and he couldn't move like he did before. And now he's back down to a lighter weight, that he was a couple of years ago. Josh in the same category. There was a big push to get bigger. And I was watching that last year. I'm like, wait a minute. You had 17 sacks, the year before. Why would you want to get bigger? But it was this big push for some reason with the defensive staff to get everybody bigger. Like, let's step off the bus and really impress people. Well, I don't care about stepping off the bus. I like to see what the performance is on the field, So I'm excited about Josh going back down to the weight that he had great success at. Devin Lloyd getting back down to the weight to where he could run better. And even some of the other players, defensive backs and, getting back to weights that you can have great success at. Yeah, I never quite understood what was going on there last year.
What are your overall thoughts on Tyson Campbell now going into year 5 of his career?
I think he's got to find a consistency, and consistency comes in a couple forms. It comes in the form of, number one is availability. And number two is performance and consistency of performance. And I think he's got to find that in his game. And some of that is a little bit of luck involved. He's had a great offseason. Watching him in the OTAs and the mini camp, he has been outstanding. And I think the scheme is really going to help him. I've always believed that Tyson Campbell is at his best when he has his eyes and his head facing back to the quarterback. In other words, playing in a zone concept. And that's really kind of the foundation of what the Green Bay defense and what Anthony Campanelli is bringing to this defense. And they tried to be a man team and And as we saw so far in Tyson Campbell's career, that's not where he's at his best. And so I think the scheme is really going to help him this year. And I'm excited for him just because he's been really, really good so far in the OTAs again in the offseason. And he's just got to have a little luck and stay healthy. And I think he'll be a really good football player for this defense.
Asking you to guess on something like this way too early, but that's what we do, man. It's sports radio. If you were guessing right now, who will be the Jaguars' opening day starter at free safety?
That's a great question. I don't know, Tony. I mean, I think they're going to play a lot of guys until they maybe settle in on somebody, but that is going to be an interesting question. And somebody's got to rise up and take it. And I think in the coaches' minds that it's really not settled. I think that until you get the pads on and you start playing in some games, that's going to be a position that's TBD, to be determined.
On Friday, we asked as our question of the day, beyond Brian Thomas Jr. and Josh Hines-Allen, who Prisco had both of those guys in his top 100 players in the league in something he wrote up last week, who right now is the Jaguars' third best player?
I mean, Trayvon Walker is right up there for me. I mean, he's just super consistent and available, physical. I mean, I think he's there. But the reality is, I had this. You remember in the practice when Brian Thomas Jr. went down, and appeared to be injured a little bit, and there was like this collective gasp at practice. Everybody's like, "Oh my God, Brian Thomas Jr. got hurt. Is he going to be okay?" Well, he was fine. But I had a list that said, the top guys that you can't afford to get hurt for this year. Number one was Trevor. Obviously quarterback, the most important position. Number two was Travis Hunter, and the reason I said that is because he's one of the most intriguing players in the league going into this season. He's going to be a huge driver of interest and ticket sales and excitement. And he also represents the new. And even though he hasn't played a snap, Tony, I hold him in high regard. I mean, look, how many Heisman Trophy winners that have been two-way football players have entered the league and played? And on top of that, how many of them are playing for any other team than the Jacksonville Jaguars? I mean, this is a huge reason to be excited for fans and football fans all around the country to watch. So even though we're not talking about a top 100 player, I mean, he's in my top 5 of players you don't want to see get hurt for this Jaguars football team just because of all the reasons around it.
How much do you think, this is one of the topics we've been kicking around since they drafted Hunter. How much do you think how much he's being used on each side of the ball will be kind of game plan dependent? Do you think that'll be a part of what they do? Like when they're playing Cincinnati, maybe they feel like they need him a little bit more on defense, given the wide receivers they'd be going up against. How much do you think that will factor in to how they use Hunter week to week?
I think it will change week to week. I mean, game plan specific. What's the, from a defensive standpoint, okay, what's the opponent's offensive personnel grouping that they use more? What's the best personnel grouping to attack an opponent's defense with? I think all of those things are going to go into how much Travis Hunter has a role on offense and defense. And as James Gladstone and Liam Cohen have talked about, this again hasn't been done before. So it's a very fluid situation, and as it should be. They've never seen him do it. Nobody's seen him do it at the NFL level. So the more they see, the more they're probably going to like. And I think there's probably going to be weeks to where one side of the ball or the other is going to be begging the coach, "Hey, come on, Liam, we need him this week because of this." So I mean, it's going to be interesting to watch. And it's something that, as an organization, you're going to have to manage, and that's not easy to do because there's no format or plan that you can follow that's been done before.
Appreciate the time this morning, Logs. Let's wrap it up with this. What are the odds in your mind that Trevor will be the best player on the roster at the end of the season?
Well, I hope so, Tony. I really do. I mean, the off season I didn't think was great, but again, it was a new system. There's a lot of new. It's a new scheme. But for this team to get where it wants to be, he has to take that step back to where he was at and continue to grow from there. I mean, this is a quarterback league, and they've got $250 million invested in Trevor. And when you have that type of commitment and you have the type of performance that he's shown in the past, that's what you want to see this year and to continue to grow from that. And if they can get that, hold on. This football team is going to compete at a high level.
Logs, appreciate the time this morning. We'll have some tape to check in the not-too-distant future, my friend. And
yeah, I'm looking forward to that because there's a lot of things that we're going to see in that tape that's never been seen before. So looking forward to it.
No doubt about it. Enjoy the time away. We'll speak to you when you get back here on the home front, my friend, and we get into training camp and preseason. We'll be checking in with you then. Appreciate it, my friend.
All right. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, RJ.
There we go. Jeff Lageman checking in from the woods somewhere, a blind somewhere. It's Jeff Lageman. Again, we're just a few weeks away from the preseason getting rolling, and he'll be checking in with us each Tuesday. We'll be checking tape with Jeff Lageman. It's not that far away, but we do have a few more weeks of not a whole lot going on in the NFL world, but that doesn't matter. We'll keep it rolling. Jaguars football. We'll take a look around the National Football League when we return. John Oehser will join me in the second hour of the program this morning as well. You are listening to Jaguars Today on 1010 XL.
Jaguars Today.
You're at the home of the Jaguars in the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Door Studios. Superior products, exceptional service. Now, another classic moment in Jags history.
There's the snap. Brunell standing in the pocket, has time. He's on the run to his left. He's got Keenan all alone. Keenan makes the catch at the 10. Tyrope's down the sideline. And the referee signaled touchdown. A 47-yard touchdown pass.
Jaguars pride forever. 1010XL.
Brackish Vodka, the spirit of the sportsman and proud partner of the Jaguars, wants to make your flight in and out of Jax a fun one. Stop by Vino Volo in the airport and enjoy 2 signature brackish cocktails. Vino Volo has amazing food and cocktails before your flight. Brackish Vodka is the first clean craft vodka and made right here in Jacksonville, Florida. Brackish Vodka for whatever your sport is. If your sport is flying, your vodka is Brackish, proud partner of the Jaguars.
Florida heat hitting like a heavyweight? Time to call in the champ. KO Electric and HVAC. We knock out the heat and power up your comfort. Fast, reliable, and undefeated in home service. KOElectricJax.com. KOElectricJax.com. AA Automotive helps keep your vehicle in dependable and safe condition. Call Sam, Harry, or Joe, and they'll check your brakes, tires, fluids, electric, and motor, so your ride runs smooth on the road. That's AA Automotive on Richard Street.
Jaguars Today.
You're settled into a Dream Finders Homes Monday.
If a birthday or anniversary is looming in your immediate future, take care of it today by ordering a floral arrangement online at CuneFlowers.com. You'll be the star of their day. This is Frank Frangie. Take it from me. An arrangement from Kuhn Flowers works like magic.
With 50 years of fabrication expertise and towing products, the family at Cannons of Jacksonville can repair or install precisely what you need to tow with confidence. Visit cannonsofjacks.com, where quality and customer satisfaction collide.
Are you struggling with hair loss? At IHRS, we understand because we've been there too. We're dedicated to finding the best solution tailored just for you.
My hair looks great. It was thinning, and IHRS restored my hair.
It's now fuller, it's thicker, voluminous. It's made me feel great.
With the latest technology and FDA-approved laser therapy, PRP, and non-surgical hair addition, we offer guaranteed solutions for men and women.
With over 35 years of experience, IHRS found a hair restoration for us, and we can find one for you.
For me.
For me.
And me too.
Visit hairforme.com or call 904-777-IHRS. Get a free microscopic analysis and get to the root of your problem. This $395 analysis is yours for free. Call 904-777-4477 now.
for lost or broken keys or nearly any make and model of vehicle. Call 722-1111 for
Instant Keys. Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
Home of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Registration is now open for the Circle K Greater Jacksonville Kingfish Tournament. With over $450,000 in cash and prizes, fun starts on July 13th with the inaugural Kickoff Beach Tournament that has a $50,000 cash first place prize. There's also a junior offshore tournament and one for the lady anglers. Best of all, the winner of the General Offshore Tournament takes home a Contender 28T with twin Yamaha 200s. Register today at kingfishtournament.com.
With Lee and Kate's glass, you're gonna see a big difference.
Hey, it's Frank Frangie. Look, when it comes to glass needs around the home, there's one name I trust, Lee and Kate's. It's local, family-owned, and they've been part of our community since 1926. They've taken great care of me over the years, and I know they'll do the same for you. Visit leeandkatesglass.com.
With Lee and Kate's glass, you're gonna see a big difference.
Lucas Tree Service is a certified arborist and a local family-owned business with over 45 years of experience. They specialize in tree removal, trimming, and stump grinding for both residential and commercial properties. Get prepared for storm season and receive top-notch customer service from Lucas Tree Service, 904-241-3533. Online at lucastreeservice.com.
Maxed out on credit cards, struggling with high interest debt? You could pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Prosser here. Get cash out now without touching your low-rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan Program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated their kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. That's Loan Pronto. Listen, your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy, low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is an A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau and have nearly 2,500 5-star Google reviews. Call now and start the conversation. Go to loanpronto.com or call 999-1508. That's loanpronto.com.
This is your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. I'm RJ Saunders for 1010XL. This update brought to you by Duck Duck Rooters, Septic Plumbing, and Air Conditioning. It is official. Travis Hunter has signed a 4-year, $46 million, fully guaranteed contract. His $30.57 million signing bonus is going to be paid entirely up front. It sets a new record, making him the first non-quarterback not drafted first overall to receive his entire signing bonus up front. As the Jaguars get ready for the 2025 football season with full capacity of 60,000 plus fans, Everbank Stadium partners will be hiring for more than 1,000 part-time positions at a job fair on tomorrow. Go to jaguars.com/GST careers for more information. 85 degrees at 11:03. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Jaguars Today
on 1010XL.
Thanks again to Jeff Lageman for joining us there for a couple segments, just digging into some Jaguars football, his take on some of the things going on there. I can, RJ, remember, as I brought up there when I was talking to Logs, I can remember watching him, you know, in that video that he mentioned having talked, like Tony reacting to it when he said it, you know, in that video on draft day when Tony asked, as you know, someone who's in the kind of position Baselli is in now is want to do, what do you want to see us do? And Log said, I'd trade up for Hunter. This is what I'd do. And he said, yeah, the poker face with Baselli was pretty good, with them knowing inside the building what the plan was going to be a little bit later on that night, but they got it done. It's still kind of hard to believe.
I know Cohen spoke about it with Pat McAfee, just saying that, the information not getting out, that they were having this in the works, especially also with the Cleveland Browns. And I mean, the Cleveland Browns didn't have to really keep that under wraps too. They could have said, well, listen, Jacksonville's offering this, and could have, floated this around to other teams, but they didn't as well. So they also played their part in, the trading up to get Travis Hunter for the Jacksonville Jaguars. But I mean, for information to be like that, to where you're saying, man, we're going to be drafting a guy who James Gladstone has said, by all accounts, could potentially be the Shohei Ohtani of the NFL, and none of that information got out to anybody. I know there are a lot of individuals on the text line that were saying, early on last season, let's try to trade for Travis Hunter. Let's try to get Travis Hunter. Mm-hmm. Travis Hunter's going to be a Jacksonville Jaguar. I need the winning lotto numbers because, I said, yeah, right. That's not going to happen as much as we would love to see it. But here it is. I mean, he's finally signed his contract. He's a Jacksonville Jaguar, has been so for the last few months. I mean, hopefully we're able to see just, glimpses of what we saw at Colorado on the field this year. I understand it's not going to be fully what we saw, as he's a rookie and still developing and maturing, but to see the information didn't get out, and you're getting an absolute stud and an absolute dog at, both positions, both wide receiver and defensive back, it's definitely created a lot of excitement, Tony, that I don't think's been here in Jacksonville for quite a while.
Well, there's never been a player like this in obviously the time that the Jags have been in the league, right? The last 30 years, there hadn't been anybody like Travis Hunter.
Right.
There's been no one that's tried this in 60 years in the National Football League. And that Jacksonville gets to be the eye of the hurricane, right? With this kind of thing going on. I mean, it is wild that this is the situation that we're in. And, Dempsey and I have been working together now for over 2 decades. Right. So we've had plenty of draft conversations year over year, and there are plenty of times one or both of us have been right or wrong about what we think is going to happen. It's all guessing. We don't have any inside information on this stuff ever to try to pass on to anybody when we're doing it. But there have been plenty of years where conversations similar to the ones that at the end we were having about Hunter have been had about other players, where it's like, well, I would do this, but it's not happening. So what's the point in talking about this every day? Right. Like, it's not that I wouldn't trade up for Hunter. I'd be willing to trade up for Hunter. That'd be exciting. But why are we going to waste our time talking about this? They're not going to do it. Right. Like, that's the way that the Hunter conversation seemed to be going. I can remember specifically that kind of stuff going on in 2017 when we were getting ready for the draft. And the entire world knew that the Jacksonville Jaguars were going to be taking Leonard Fournette. That was the pick. Like, we knew for 3 months that the pick was going to be Fournette. It was the Coughlin thing. We had it circled. You can write it in ink. And there were these very rare occasions leading up to that Dempsey and I would both, someone would ask, it was like, if it was you making the pick, what would you do? Right? And I can remember both of us having said what we said. Dempsey said, if it was me making the pick, I'd take Deshaun Watson, right, at that spot. I said, if it was me making the pick, I'm taking Mahomes.
Wow.
That's what I said going into that draft, right? Now, at the time where I started saying that, it was unclear if he was really even going to be a first-round pick. And it may be that I talked to him at the Super Bowl. He just happened to sit down with us at Radio Row, so I'm biased because I really liked Patrick Mahomes. He was a lot of fun just to hang out with him for 20 minutes. But I loved Mahomes going into it, but we all knew there's no point in going on every day and saying they ought to take X. It's like they're taking Fournette.
Right.
So the conversation was going to be about what does that look like when they take Fournette? And there were reasons for Fournette to be the pick. Look, Leonard Fournette was a guy that everyone knew was going to be a first-round pick at running back for 3 years.
Right.
It's not like he wasn't that guy at the time that the Jaguars.
LSU. Yeah, he was incredible.
Stud. Everyone knew that about Leonard Fournette. It's just those kind of conversations, they kind of get lost. It was fun to watch it be the guy that we're like, well, that'd be fun, but no way.
Now, do you think that maybe we should have started thinking in ways in terms of, let's just say the Jaguars trading the pick, whether up or down, because it almost felt there for a moment. I think Will Johnson was the guy that early on was supposed to be the pick, or who
then
those
the
out there were, projecting that he was going to come to the Jaguars. Then you hear, Mason Graham, and you're now hearing like all of these other names, Ted McMillan. And I just think maybe that uncertainty from where even experts didn't know who was going to be the pick, that maybe we should have wondered, maybe Jacksonville does something here where they just trade the pick, whether that be up or down. Should we have started thinking along those lines?
No, because we didn't know what exactly the leadership was going to be yet.
Okay.
Right? Like, you don't know that they're willing to be that definitive in the directions they want to go until they are, right? And it's hard in the NFL to anticipate someone being that someone being willing to be as bold as Gladstone is willing to be to go make that kind of move. And a lot of it, I know, we had the conversations on here every day. A lot of it was, well, I'm not giving up next year's first. They're not going to give up next year's first round pick.
Right.
To get something done. They're just not going to give up next year's first round pick.
It's going to be too much.
Right. Like, that was the conversation. It was like, that'd be nice. That'd be cool. It'd be nice to land one of probably the best player in this draft, and all these different, like, we had all those conversations, and then they did it. And it's like, yeah, like, they're willing to be that level of bold. It was fun to watch.
This is one of the biggest moments, in my opinion, in Jaguars history. I mean, doing that trade, if it works out the way we think it's going to work out, and it contributes to winning, I'm not sitting here saying that we're going to be Super Bowl champions, in the first year. They've never done
anything this bold.
But yeah, I mean, there's never been anything done this bold. I mean, even with the Trevor Lawrence, selection, we knew that was coming once, the Jets.
We were celebrating that in November.
Yeah, when the Jets did their part.
Yeah.
We're celebrating the fact that Trevor Lawrence is going to be a Jacksonville Jaguar. But to see someone do something like this, where even when Trayvon Walker, and I love what he does on the field, but even with the Trayvon Walker selection, it seems still to this day there are individuals that are saying, well, Hutchinson should have been the pick.
And you can include me in that list.
Right, yeah.
Of people that would say it. And it's not that I don't think Walker's a good player and has an opportunity to get better, but Aiden's the better player.
There just hasn't been anybody in which I've heard, Tony, just as of yet, there's no one in which I've heard say, it should have been someone else if we were trading up to get the number 2 selection in the draft. It should have been someone else other than Travis Hunter. It seems like everyone here in Jacksonville, the consensus was, if you're trading up to get number 2, we would be doing so to get Travis Hunter if Cam Ward's going to be the pick at number 1. So to see everything happen the way that it has, and to see the city of Jacksonville really be in one accord with just the level of appreciation for the pick and what Gladstone and that whole front office was able to do to get that done. I just think the appreciation level for this new regime went through the roof when we saw it.
I don't think there's any chance that this pick turns out the way that the one that I'm going to mention here turned out for Jacksonville. But the last time that the fans got anywhere near that kind of hype that I can remember, they got hyped up about the Jalen Ramsey thing because I don't think we expected it to land the way that it did. But the last time I can remember Jacksonville as a fan base getting hyped up the way they did, with the team being willing to move up and make that kind of move, was Blackman.
Okay.
The city was absolutely on fire.
Because that was going to be probably what Jacksonville really hadn't had a receiver quite with that level of talent.
They had a GM that was scared to death to ever move. They never moved anywhere. They didn't move up in the draft ever under Gene Smith. That was not the MO. And that he was willing to go get this guy, it's like he's finally going to do it. And Blackman was a 2-time Biletnikoff winner. He was the best wide receiver in the country for 2 straight years. That was the man. And then we saw him in the preseason. It's like the way he runs and catches, it's just different. Everything about this guy is different. And turns out he was too different. Apparently.
Yeah, he had his issues off the field.
He had his off-field issues, and there were teams like Tampa in the league that said they went over there to scout him. They saw him hanging out in a bar and took him off the list. It's like, well, Gene, where are you, buddy? It's not like any of this stuff was really hidden away.
Right.
With everything that's going on with that guy. Gonna talk to John Oehser here in a moment. Before we get to that, though, RJ, let's take a look around the rest of the National Football League.
Now, gems around the NFL. Brought to you by Beaches Jewelry and Pawn in Jacks Beach.
With the Jaguars getting the deal done with Travis Hunter yesterday, there are now just 2 first-round picks that have not signed their rookie deals yet. 20th overall pick, Denver cornerback Jahdae Barron at 17. Overall, also Cincinnati defensive end Shamar Stewart. We'll see if he ever signs with the Bengals. And Titans running back Tyjae Spears, who has appeared in 19 games, started only 2 in the last 2 seasons with Tennessee after being selected in the 3rd round in 2023, told Jim Wyatt with the team's official website that this weekend that he is mostly just looking forward to putting a frustrating 2024 in the rearview mirror. During his rookie season with the Titans, his usage, not a big surprise. They had, I don't know if you've heard of him, Derrick Henry there with the Titans. He was still there 2 years ago, but last year, hamstring, ankle injuries, as well as 2 concussions, limited Spears to just 12 games and 84 carries. So he's looking forward to putting 2024 solidly there in the rear view mirror. When we return, John Oehser will join us. We'll continue to talk Jaguars football here on Jaguars Today. Tony Smith, RJ Saunders here with you. Our Chad and Sandy real estate question of the day today, asking, which of these numbers do you think Trevor Lawrence is most likely to surpass in the 2025 season? 4,400 yards passing, 33 touchdowns, or win 12 games. All 3 of those numbers would put him among the top 5 quarterbacks in the league in each of those categories if he were to hit any of them. We'll give our answers to that a little bit later on. But John Oehser going to join us next here on the program. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010 XL.
Jaguars Today.
From the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL.
What are you doing here?
It's good to see you too.
I'm sorry, I'm confused. You are...
1010XL.
Mia here for Closets by Design. It's been a few months since they built my custom closet, and you know how much I love it. My family is obsessed. With summer here, why not finally create that custom garage workspace you and your dad want? Think tool storage, workbenches, a place for everything to go. Closets by Design creates custom solutions for every space, lifestyle, and budget. That includes all you guys. Call to schedule your free in-home consultation and receive 40% off plus an additional 15% off. ClosetsByDesign.com.
June is Men's Health Month, and here's your reminder to be proactive and get screened for early detection at Ackerman Cancer Center. Many cancer instances are largely preventable and treatable. So take steps now to minimize your risk factors at AckermanCancerCenter.com.
Jacksonville is staying cool with Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. Don't sweat HVAC costs. Special financing makes upgrades a home run. Choose high-efficiency AC systems, spread payments over time, and keep the savings in your pocket. Apply fast, get approved quick, and enjoy comfort now. Over 20 years of HVAC expertise awaits. Get a quote today before the summer savings melt away.
Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. The coolest cats in town.
Dreamfinders Homes Monday.
Jaguars Today.
Have you been diagnosed with moderate to severe opioid use disorder? You may qualify for a new clinical research study. Dr. Ferdinand Formoso is now enrolling participants to evaluate the effectiveness of a non-opioid medication treatment option for OUD. Qualified participants will receive study-related care at no cost and may be eligible for reimbursement of travel and accommodations. To qualify, applicants must be 18 to 65 years old, have been diagnosed with moderate to severe opioid use disorder, and have not been on medication to treat opioid use in the last 3 months. The study lasts up to 22 weeks, with weekly visits during treatment. If you're ready to explore a new path forward, visit OUDstudy.com for more details and qualifications. Take the first steps and visit OUDstudy.com. That's OUDstudy.com. OUDstudy.com.
Hey, I'm Tony from Tony D's Pizza. People ask me all day long, is it the water that makes the difference? Well, yes and no. Even water can't make a good pizza. It's the ingredients, too. The best tomatoes, the best flour, and the best cheese. Oh, and a lot of love. Tony D's New York Pizza, Bay Meadows and 295.
He used to cover the Jags. Now he's a CBS Sports senior NFL writer.
Well, I believe he got everybody's attention.
He's Pete Prisco. Friday afternoons on The Frangie Show. Brought to you by Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles on 1010XL.
Are your kids ready to play this summer?
Come check out the Y. Summer is a time for kids to explore new things and expand the limits of their imagination. At the Y summer camps, every day is a new adventure. Kids can learn about STEM, arts and humanities, athletic sports, outdoor games, and more. Registration is now open, but space is limited and spots are filling up quickly. Learn more and find your adventure at fcymca.org. Search Summer Day Camp.
Hey, Carline here. If you're shopping for a new ride, you've got to check out Atlantic Infinity. Not only do you get a luxury vehicle, you also get the Atlantic Infinity Promise Free with every new car. That's almost $2,500 in added value just for buying smarter, and you don't have to sweat it out on the lot. Shop in their indoor, climate-controlled showrooms. It's cool, comfortable, hassle-free. They're on Atlantic near St. John's Bluff, or browse anytime at atlanticinfinity.com.
Brian and Angela Wall here with Window World. By now, everyone has heard about saving money on their energy bills. There are all sorts of things you can do to cut energy costs, but most people don't think about their windows.
But Window World knows that the biggest energy loss in almost every home is the windows. There is more energy loss from old builder-grade windows than just about anything else in your home.
You can upgrade your heating and air, your appliances. That's good too. But before you do all that, upgrade your windows to Window World's energy-efficient windows.
Window World's windows are easy to clean, energy efficient, and have the best guarantee in the business.
Window World's slogan is simply the best for less, and we mean it. You get great American-made windows, and you get to keep more of your money when you buy from Window World. Need any more reasons to buy your windows from Window World? Call them today and set up your free in-home estimate, or go online to windowworldneflorida.com.
Window World, simply the best for less.
Thank you for your business.
Window World also offers energy-efficient doors. Born in Jacksonville, raised on Southern Rock, and coming home to the Florida Theater, it's Molly Hatchet. Saturday, June 28th. Get your fill of Southern Rock fury. Grab your seat at floridatheater.com. It's a hometown homecoming with Molly Hatchet.
Mike Dempsey, and now's the time to get your roof hurricane ready with Apex Roofing and Contracting of Jacks Beach. Look, our rainy season is no joke, and if your roof's got damage, leaks, or it's just plain worn out, don't wait. Apex is local, dependable, and will show up on time using only premium materials with ironclad warranties. No shortcuts, no stress, just quality work you can trust. Skip the storm season scramble. Reach for the peak with Apex Roofing and Contracting in Jacks Beach, or visit apexroofingfl.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. It's time for Oh No's with Jaguars.com's John Oehser. Oh no. Oh, really? Oh yeah. Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
Tony Smith here with you, Mike Dempsey on assignment, as I hear RJ is playing, I don't think a direct request, but a kind of tangential request from Ozone here. Let's go to the Checkmate Coatings hotline. I think RJ has discovered, Mr. Oehser, that you are a first wave punk fan, so he wanted to play the Ramones for you coming in this morning.
Oh, yeah. Anytime you lead me in with the Ramones, it's a good day. It's in my book, they're top 3 or 4 of all time. Love them.
Yeah, I know you and I have had our discussions about the Clash over the years. So
sure. Yeah. Without the Ramones, there's no Clash, as we all know.
This is true. When are you recording the June episode of the Have We Ever Figured Out How to Say It? Is it the EVP podcast or the EV podcast? I'm still not sure.
There's been a little bit of internal debate, and Tony and I joke about it, that it probably should be the EVP podcast. We call it the EV podcast. I believe we call it that because it looks better on the logo. So that's in this day and age, social media rules all else. So I think our social team wanted that, and I'm all for it. But we actually recorded it the day the season or the off season ended, and my understanding is it rolls out this week. I was out last week. My son got married in Georgia, so I'm not real in tune to how it's going to roll out. But my understanding is it's sometime in the next couple of days. And to tell people, I don't know if they know, probably not. James Gladstone and Liam Cohen are on it with Tony, so it's really a off-season wrap-up. And this will be the fourth EVP podcast, or however you say it, with Tony. And they've all been good because he's so good in that forum. They've all been very, pulling back behind the curtain. But the camaraderie between Liam, James, and Tony is really evident in this last one. And it was one of my most enjoyable hosting experiences that I've ever had. So I would recommend people who want to see these guys in action. They've already seen it on The Hunt a lot, which is our series, but this is good.
Ozone, it's been an eventful offseason here, which is to say almost nothing. But it was not an offseason that looked like it was going to do much to spark the franchise early on. That has obviously changed. How do you describe Shad Khan as an owner after going through the process of this season as well?
Well, I know fans get tired of hearing it because they've heard me say it for a decade and a half, but it takes time for some owners to sort of grind through, figure out, get it right. And I'd say not even some owners, a lot of owners, especially new ones that have not been around the NFL. So how would I describe them? As an owner who always works to try to make the right decision and is always doing whatever he can to have the Jaguars win. There is never, and you've been around Shad, Tony. There's no doubt that he wants to win, and everything he's about with this team is trying to get it done. The problem in the NFL is if one effort toward that doesn't work and you try to be patient, then all of a sudden it's kind of 3 or 4 years, and it doesn't happen overnight. So I think Gus and Dave sort of set it back, and then you keep trying. But mistakes, if they're called mistakes, they're hard to twist overnight because everything is such a process. So I think fans see other teams and forget that not every team magically transforms overnight under new ownership. So I almost hesitate, Tony. We haven't talked really since Tony Baselli got there and since James and Liam got there. I hate to talk too optimistically because they've heard me say these things before. But there is a feeling with these guys inside the building. It's hard to describe, but they're doing things right for the right reasons and giving themselves a chance. And that's really all I can assess right now because they haven't played any games. But I feel good about the direction. We'll see where it goes.
Yeah, the senior writer, John Oehser, joining us. And I wanted to talk to you about things along those kind of lines. Look, you had the chance to be around this organization in its very successful early years. You were there with the Colts. That was a team that was right on the brink of being a year-to-year Super Bowl contender. So you've seen what winning NFL organizations look like. And I wanted to ask you about your early thoughts on James Gladstone and his ability to create some kind of sustainable success here in Jacksonville.
I think he's the next Bill Polian. And when I say that Bill is controversial sometimes, and fans sometimes don't like him. But Bill Polian is absolutely brilliant, and he's absolutely structurally insanely good at setting a winning organization and knowing what is important within a football organization. So it's why he's in the Hall of Fame. It's why he turned around, 3 or 4 different teams, maybe 3. James Gladstone, I hesitate to say that he's that league because he hasn't, he's had a half a year as a GM. But it's the highest praise I can imagine because of this. I think he's otherworldly smart. But beyond that, what Bill had, and I'm only using Bill because I was around him for 10 years, and he's a Hall of Famer, was an incredible ability to communicate one thought over on this side of the building and make sure everybody in the building knew what that thought was and they were operating off of it. James Gladstone, if anybody's heard him talk, his ability to communicate and his ability to hone down an idea and make everybody understand it. And I think when it really comes down to mattering on the field is this is the kind of player we want. This is who we are. This is our identity. All the stuff that kind of went meme viral or whatever about intangibly rich and all the little sayings. Well, there's a method to that madness because scouts, coaches, they hear those things too, and they know sort of what to lock in on. It sounds silly because they haven't played a game yet, but look, I like all of them. I like Liam Cohen a lot. I've known Tony Baselli for 30 years, and my respect for him in this role couldn't be higher. But, maybe an inch above the other two, the reason I think this thing long-term is going to work is I think James Gladstone is the next GM rock star.
Where does Travis Hunter and all of the angles of how he got here, what they're planning on doing with him now that he is here, land among the stories that you have had the opportunity to cover in the NFL?
Well, in terms of off-season, in terms of interest, he's absolutely a rock star, and the Jaguars have never had that, meaning a guy who just draws eyeballs. I covered Peyton for 10 years, and the Colts, as you know, they were one of the glamour teams when I covered them. So I've been around media coverage. Travis Hunter's different because it's a different era. Social media wasn't a big deal back when I was doing the Colts. So you didn't hit that sort of everything viral, such a star on social media. And then what he's trying to do, it's up there. I mean, it's completely unique. I don't know if I'd rank it, but obviously I've never covered anything like it. And it's going to be very interesting to see, how he handles the scrutiny of it. I think he'll do fine with that. How he handles the workload of it. What does success mean by doing it? I don't think he has to be the best wide receiver and the best cornerback in the NFL for this to be successful. I think he needs to provide spark and, sort of energize the franchise, which he has. I don't know how to predict it because I don't think anybody knows how to predict it. When you've never seen something, it's hard to have sort of a backdrop to analyze it. But I would say this with Travis. I can't imagine that he won't scare defensive coordinators and that he won't be a big play threat. And as long as he's influencing things quickly. I'm saying that in the first month, right? I don't mean for his career. But as long as he impacts and makes defenses focus, then I think he's going to be impact from day one.
What do you think is a fair expectation for the Liam Cohen, Trevor Lawrence duo in first year?
Hoping he stays healthy, because I think so much with the last 2 years has been skewed by health. I mean, I thought he was starting to peak in 23 right before he got hurt. And I thought there was some real good stuff going on, and then it's never really gotten back. And I think there's a multitude of reasons. So I'm not trying to put off the question. I think you want to see a feeling of, okay, if you've heard Liam Cohen talk, he talks a lot about trying to get the black and white in those gray areas, and the footwork and calming down in the pocket and sort of knowing what to do. I think you want Trevor to look like he's confident and comfortable and starting to get this offense. And I think that will bring stats and it'll bring a feeling of security with the quarterback position. Never felt like that was there last year. Felt like sort of a mess everywhere on the team. I'm not giving a very good answer, Tony, but I think you want to see a quarterback and a coach that you feel like are taking solid strides toward where they want to be. I think it'll take some time with the new system. I think we'll know it when we see it. And I think it just wants to look right. And I think we'll know it when we see it. And I wish I had a more stat-oriented answer, but I don't think it's going to be really measured within the building, certainly with stats.
We'll wrap up with this. Do you believe that there is any chance that an extension with Trayvon Walker could get done here in these next few quiet weeks? I know there was an acknowledgement a while ago that the conversations had at least been brought up between the two sides, between the team and Trayvon Walker. Do you think there's any chance that could get done between now and the start of camp?
Yeah, there may be a chance. I think it's more likely. I know people want to make a big deal that it hasn't been done. A lot of times when it's a first-year regime, even with with a player first playing for that regime, both sides want to sort of look at it and say, okay, we can, we understand that we want to get a feel for how this fits. Everybody wants to make sure. And when I say that, that sounds like there's hesitancy on both sides. And I don't think there is. I think there's just not a reason to hurry it. So I don't think either side is in a reason to hurry it. I know the Jaguars love him. This group believes he's going to be a core player on this team and is one of the most important players on the team. I think the more likely scenario is the season gets going, they see like sort of firsthand, and then they're riding back on the plane in like week 7, and they all go, we got to get this done because this is just a guy that we've got to have around here. And I think if there was more of a deadline for it, I think they would have already done it. But there's just no hurry to do it yet. So I think they're just sort of both sides calmly waiting and saying, okay, we get it. It's okay to wait.
He is the senior writer over there for the Jaguars.com. Ozone, what do you got coming up here in the next few weeks, maybe leading up to camp?
Yeah, we'll be doing the off-season series I try to do with our Jaguars media members. It's a final analysis. It's about 10 stories over a few weeks. Behind the curtain a little bit, it's a way to not be grinding every day and have a little vacation. But we'll be breaking down 10 topics. The EV podcast, I would say, is the thing that we're pretty proud of. And if people haven't seen it yet, we did do a podcast about a week and a half ago with now retired sports columnist Gene Fournette from the TU.
Yeah.
If people haven't seen that, 44 years in the business. Gene is a longtime friend of mine. I've known him since '88. And we talked for a long time about career journalism, Jaguars. If you're looking for something to do this summer, something to listen to, the EV podcast and the Gene Fournette Ozone podcast I think will be fun for Jaguars fans.
Ozone, appreciate the time this morning. Congratulations to your son on the nuptials here the last couple of weeks, and we'll be talking again soon, I'm sure, my friend.
Fantastic, Tony. Appreciate you, buddy.
All right, there he goes, Ozone, the senior writer, joining us here this morning on the program. We'll put a bow on this edition of Jaguars Today when we return. We'll take a look at the Chad and Sandy real estate question of the day this morning, asking you which of these numbers do you think Trevor Lawrence is most likely to surpass in the 2025 season? 4,400 yards passing, 33 touchdown passes, or win 12 games. We'll give our answers to that as we'll close it up here on this Monday edition of Jaguars Today, next here on 1010XL.
Jaguars Today for the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. No static ever. Download the free 1010XL app for Apple and Android devices and take us with you wherever you go. 1010XL.
Call 904-500-COOL. Ideal Conditions.
Need a new air conditioning system? Don't sign anything. Call Ideal Conditions Heating and Air Conditioning, your AC experts. Just ask your AC. For brand new systems, we have special financing for 60 months, subject to credit approval and for approved systems. Call for details.
Call 904-500-COOL.
Honk if you see us. Call for service.
Ideal Conditions.
IdealConditionsJax.com.
Firehouse Subs has fries. Your hometown hero since '94 just cranked up the heat. Hot subs, crispy fries, golden, pillowy on the inside, and perfectly seasoned. Over 30 Jacksonville locations. Firehouse Subs. Homegrown and now with fries.
Are you struggling with hair loss?
At IHRS, we understand because we've been there too. We're dedicated to finding the best solution tailored just for you.
My hair looks great. It was thinning, and IHRS restored my hair.
It's now fuller, it's thicker, voluminous. It's made me feel great.
With the latest technology and FDA-approved laser therapy, PRP, and non-surgical hair addition, we offer guaranteed solutions for men and women. With over 35 years of experience, IHRS found a hair restoration for us, and we can find one for you.
For me.
For me.
And me too.
Visit hairforme.com or call 904-777-IHRS. Get a free microscopic analysis and get to the root of your problem. This $395 analysis is yours for free. Call 904-777-4477 now.
It's a Dreamfinders Homes Monday.
Official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Jumbo Shrimp Baseball is home this week at newly renovated VyStar Ballpark. Tomorrow is our first ever sensory-friendly game, followed by a day game on Camp Day Wednesday. Then it's Ascension St. Vincent's Military Appreciation on Coors Light Thirsty Thursday. Don't miss fireworks Friday and Saturday. Baseball all week and weekend. Tickets start at just $5. JackShrimp.com for tickets. Jumbo Shrimp Baseball.
This is Greg Huntington, a.k.a. The Mangler. I'm on the winning team at Waste Management. WM is the largest sustainability company in North America. If your business needs sustainable environmental services for waste removal and recycling collection, then you can count on the industry leader of WM to deliver results. Your services will be completed in a timely, safe, and eco-friendly manner. Go to WM.com/Duval. That's WM.com/Duval and get signed up today. If anyone can talk trash, it's The Mangler.
Yo, Jacksonville, Hickens Hype. Checkmate Coatings crushes it with floors I'd put in my own pad.
I'm Brendan with Checkmate Coatings. We coat it all. Garages, pool decks, driveways, and patios. Be the envy of your neighbors.
Rush to checkmatecoatings.com. Checkmate Coatings, your floor's missing piece.
Checkmate Coatings, your floor's missing piece.
Hi, folks. Jason Parker here with Performance Painting. Ever wonder what to do with leftover paint that you don't want? Here's a few options. Paint can be placed in the regular trash if it's dry. Simply stir in kitty litter to a thick consistency. Then wait a few days with the lid off till it dries. Also, if the paint is good, there's many charities or churches that would love to have it. If you'd like more tips or have a project, we'd love to help. Go to performance-painting.com. Performance Painting. Repair, protect, preserve.
Performance Painting.
A judge swings a gavel and I pound the hammer. I'm not judging, just hammering. Hammer Time with Hayes Carlyon, weekdays on The Frangie Show.
On 1010XL, driven by Kia on Atlantic.
Life is just so busy this time of year. Between work, the kids' games, family vacations, I need a yard hero to free up my weekends.
You mean somebody who does mowing and trimming?
Yeah.
How about mosquito control?
Yeah.
What about irrigation and pet waste removal?
You do that too? You're my lawn hero.
Find your lawn hero at heroeslawncare.com. Heroes Lawn Care, because every lawn needs a hero.
Are you ready to reclaim your backyard? Serving Northeast Florida since 1977, Surfside Pools is the trusted name for expert pool design. Family owned and operated, they offer pool service, equipment repairs, commercial maintenance, remodels, and new pool construction. Let Surfside Pools transform your backyard into the oasis that you crave. Are you ready to float happy? Visit surfsidepools.net or call 246-2666. Surfside Pools and Spas, where luxury meets leisure.
License number CPC 044080.
If life blindsided you tomorrow, would your family struggle? I'm Cody with Harborstone Financial, and I can help. One call could protect your family for life. 904-885-9566. Harborstone Financial.
It's tune-up time, and Florida Home AC, the official AC partner of the Jaguars, wants to partner with you for a cool summer season. Tune up your AC unit right now so it's running at peak performance when you need it most. Just call 777-4300 and order a tune-up for just $59. Keep your unit humming at optimal level. Log on to FloridaHomeAC.com and take advantage of their savings. Keep cool with Florida Home AC. That's 777-4300.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the cool down from the cool guys at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Fast, reliable, and honest service since '87.
Had the opportunity this morning to check in with Jeff Lageman and John Oehser. I thought it was interesting. Johnny O, when he joined us there in the last segment, mentioned that the EVP podcast, they got to figure out how they're going to call this thing, RJ. It is a little ridiculous that we can be 4 episodes in and no one knows exactly what to call it, but it's spelled EV podcast. So
right.
That's what I'm going to go with.
But see, you can also say it EVP Oddcast. It just doesn't roll off the tongue well.
No, EV Podcast seems to be the one that rolls off the tongue most easily to me, but we'll see. He did mention that they already have recorded the new episode for June, that it should be coming out sometime this week, and that the head coach and GM are also going to be sitting in with Tony Baselli for that episode. That'll be released this week, so obviously we can all look forward to hearing from those 3 guys at some point. The Chad and Sandy real estate question of the day today asking and I took a look, if you're wondering why I put the numbers in that I did, I took a look, and based on the numbers from last season, each of these would land Trevor Lawrence in the top 5 in each of these categories if he were to hit these numbers. Which of these numbers do you think Trevor Lawrence is most likely to achieve in the 2025 season? Your options: 4,400 yards passing, 33 touchdown passes, or win 12 games. We'll give our answer to that in the form of a 10-10 take.
10-10 take.
Now, Mike Dempsey's 10-10 take is serviced by Ideal Conditions Heating and Air, your go-to local HVAC company, veteran owned and operated.
Who do I got to complain to get Dempsey's name off that thing? RJ, actually, I don't care.
But it should have your name when it's just you.
That's whatever. Do you want me to do a Dempsey impersonation that I can't do? No. I'm not going to be doing any of that kind of stuff. But the Chad and Sandy real estate question of the day asking which of those stats do you think is most likely for Trevor Lawrence to hit? If he were going to hit one of them, 4,400 yards passing, 33 touchdown passes, or win 12 games. I saw someone on the text line that I know they were being snarky when they sent it in. They said, I would vote for him to set the interception record. It's funny that he mentions it, RJ, because, you got the option to put 4 options in each of these polls on X, and I did do the work to see what would top 5 in interceptions be.
Right.
Right. And thought about including that as the 4th option in there. But I was like, I don't want to give the Starkey guys a chance to do it. The number, by the way, would be 13. Interceptions would put you top 5 in the National Football League. But I did not include it as part of the poll. But I know I got at least 1 vote for that there on the text line this morning. I know I would vote with where the majority of people have voted this morning, RJ, 4,400 yards passing. I was also looking at this from the math side of it, and I think he would have to improve by about 8% on his best season to get to 4,400 yards passing. He'd have to improve by almost 35% to hit the touchdown mark compared to his career best to this point, and he'd have to go from 9 to 12. So he'd have to improve by 33% to get from 9 to 12 on the wins. So just from a math perspective, I think it's pretty easily for me. I would vote for the 4,400 yards passing. How about you, RJ?
I'm with the 4,400 yards passing as well. I think, what was it, the 2022 year? I think he was 4,100 yards.
Yeah.
So I think with Liam Cohen in this offense and the way in which he's setting it up, he's going to put different guys in different positions for Trevor to be successful. And I also like the fact that we heard Trevor Lawrence say this offense has a lot of answers, which I don't know if he's necessarily trying to take any jabs at any old regime, saying there were more questions than answers that I wanted. But if this offense is supposed to give him a lot more answers, I think he'll place himself in the right position, and guys are going to place themselves at the right position where he won't have as much trouble in the offense finding the open guy and being able to move the ball down the field, something that we would really love to see this year, Trevor. So 4,400 yards passing, to me, when I first looked at this at first glance, I said that's probably somewhere he can get to this season.
Yeah, whether he would mean it as a jab or not, if you asked him, he's savvy enough to say, of course not. No jabs at anybody.
What a quarterback talk.
Well, that's what quarterbacks do. They talk like quarterbacks. And you got one that certainly does that in Trevor Lawrence, over 200 votes in. About 60% of people going with the 4,400 yards passing. So that'll be up until tomorrow morning. That'll just about do it for us here on the program today. But before we say goodbye, let's say hello to the ladies at Helmets and Heels.
Now, the 2-minute drill. Serviced by Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. Locally owned and operated. We're your neighbors. CoolCatsJacks.com.
The coolest cats in town.
Lauren Brooks joining us here.
That's why I just say aloha. It means both.
It does. It means both. I wonder how confusing that gets at times. Like, do they have another word?
I'm sure.
They can say hello and they can say goodbye, but if you got in a situation where all you say is aloha all the time, like, and people are walking in and out, like, is there some level of confusion?
True. That's why in English and in Spanish we have, hello, goodbye, hola, and adios.
Oh, yeah. We got them all.
We have a lot of words.
We cover all of it, and they're free to use adios.
Peace.
If they want
peace
to.
out. Yeah,
right, any of them. What do you got coming up on the show today?
Yeah, we'll talk some Jaguars football with some Travis Hunter. I have a question for Taylor, Tony, and you don't have to answer this necessarily, but do you think outside of Jacksonville, people are rooting for Travis Hunter? I know that Travis Hunter is very popular, has a ton of followers on social media and things like that. But I mean, if you're a fan of another NFL team, whether it's the Titans or the Colts, certainly in the division, the Texans, or if you even go to random teams, Chiefs, 49ers, Bills, Ravens, are they cheering for or against him?
It's interesting from the fans of other teams are never going to pull for another team, right?
Never.
Like, you're never going to get that. But I think you can. It does feel like more of an NBA concept than an NFL concept.
Right.
To just pull for a player.
Yeah.
So I try putting myself in the position of if he wasn't here, right? Like, how would I be reacting to the Hunter thing if he wasn't here in town? And I think the way I would be reacting to it is, I want to see this.
Yeah, I want to see it. I don't know if I want to see it work, but I want to see it.
Right. Like, I want to see as a football fan, what does this look like? And what could that potentially do for guys going into the future, right? Like, I think it is more like an Ohtani thing where there's one of him.
Right.
And there may only be one Travis Hunter, and that'd be cool if we had the only one.
Sure.
That kind of, I don't think
the Dodgers are cool, right? They're a cool franchise.
Yeah.
They're a winning franchise. Obviously, when he was at the Angels, that's a little different. Yeah. But because the Jags have been, same old Jags outside of a couple winning seasons.
Like, I think most football fans are going to be, I want to see it, right? But there will be, the ones that are going to be loud are going to be, I hope he stinks, which, whatever.
Right, or they're just jealous because we got him and you don't.
Yeah, no doubt. It's certainly interesting, and it'll be interesting for Taylor. She gets to do both. She gets to do it from the perspective of pulling for him and against him.
Yeah, I feel like she's the perfect person. Absolutely.
Right, with the Bears thing going on. Appreciate it. We'll be listening.
Sounds good. Thanks so much, Tony.
Helmets and Heels coming up next here on 1010 XL. That will do it for a Monday edition of Jaguars Today. Thanks for joining us for the program. Tom McManus will join us for the Tuesday Top 5 tomorrow. I think we're going to build off of last week's Top 5 this week. Last week, we asked about the starting positions that'll be up for grabs going into training camp tomorrow. I think we'll expand on that to top 5 roster battles heading into training camp. So that can be players fighting for a spot on the 53 or for a spot on the depth chart beyond whatever the presumed starter might be. Thanks to RJ Saunders for filling in for Dylan today on the board. He will be back with us for the next couple of days. For RJ, for Jeff Lageman and John Oehser, for an on assignment, Mike Dempsey and Dylan Denmark, I'm Tony Smith. Helmets and Heels coming up next on 1010 XL.
The Maxwell House